Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with food theorists, or food theory. I know, been a while, but hey, why not? So this one's called "Why Did Gen Z Quit Drinking Alcohol?" And I'll be honest, I think I'm in that group because even I don't drink it that much. I don't know. I mean, I never really liked the feel of it. It's just like, Plus, I think we all know the effects of alcohol, so probably why. I don't know. Let me know if you actually drink yourselves, because I'm actually really curious to see where this whole thing goes. So let's hop in and find out for ourselves. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's see the answer.
Gen Z is drinking less alcohol than every other generation on Earth right now, and it's having major repercussions. Since when did Gen Z become the designated driver of society, and what does this mean for the alcohol industry? That is what we're going to find out today.
Ooh, should be fun.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food
Hi,
Theory,
Santi.
the show that's the perfect mocktail of chaos and edutainment. And yes, I did say mocktails because that is what's all on the rage. Cocktails are so blasé, so 2024. But you know what's not blasé? Clicking that subscribe button. But back to the point, why? Because Gen Z just isn't that into drinking. That's right, the same generation that revived Y2K fashion, embraced oat milk like it was liquid gold, and somehow made Crocs fashionable again, is now making alcohol-free living cool. And when Gen Z decides something is over, it's OVER. And boy, is it. They're drinking 20% less than the generation before them, the millennials, and 33% less than the other generations when it comes to beer and wine. For generations, drinking has been a cornerstone of social life, adulthood, and even celebrations. College parties, happy hours, wedding receptions. Alcohol has been at the center of all of it. Sure, it's not like everyone drank. There's plenty of people of every generation that don't. And yet, it's specifically the drinking rates among Gen Z that are plummeting. Bars and nightclubs are struggling to keep young customers, and they're scrambling to understand how to entertain people that just don't want to partake in drinking. At first, this might seem like just another quirky generational shift, like the sudden return of bell-bottom jeans or that hairstyle that every Gen Zer insists on getting. But this is not just a passing trend. This is something that's already reshaping industries, marketing strategies, and even the future of alcohol itself. Because here's the thing, this might be bad news for the alcohol brands out there. This is an industry that has spent billions of dollars making sure alcohol is seen as an essential part of adulthood. But now, their golden goose, the young adult demographic that kept bars full and liquor sales booming, is disappearing. So let's be clear here. We're talking about people born...
You know, that is kind of ironic, because, well, if you guys remember, there was a time we actually banned alcohol. You know, Prohibition. But that didn't work out well for society, and yet, here we are doing the same way. Except, we didn't have to make it a law. People are just be like, you know what, I'm gonna skip the alcohol, thank you very much. Yeah. I guess the prohibitions, all I had to do was just make sure everyone just be like, hey, we don't have to drink, so why not? I mean, heck, I think they had more success. They just introduced, like, drinks that were taste as alcohol, just without the alcohol. You know, just get... I bet if they been to mocktails, we still be in Prohibition. Anywho.
Between 1997 and 2012. Now that the oldest Gen Zers are in their mid-20s, gag, they are entering the consumer world, making their own purchasing choices and having a heavy influence on brands, trends, and everything else. So companies are starting to take note of Gen Z's interests. I talked about this in our Chili's video a bit more, so make sure to check that one out. But basically, they're the captain now. And with that power, they've decided that they liked dry January so much that they're just gonna make it dry the rest of time. Statistics show 70% of people in Gen Z are choosing non-alcoholic beverages over the other kind. Only 18 to 20% of Americans of legal drinking age under 28, which is the cutoff point as of this episode for that group, said they regularly drank beer, wine, or spirits. Like I mentioned earlier, among millennials who were born between 1980 and 1994, consumption was way higher, especially for beer and wine. It's not just in the US either. In the UK, over 1 in 4 young adults now identify as non-drinkers, a number that has doubled in the last decade. It's astonishing. Even in countries with deeply ingrained drinking cultures, Germany, Spain, and Australia, young people are simply not reaching for booze like their parents did. But what is it about alcohol that no longer fits into Gen Z's world? It's well known that Gen Z is socializing a lot less in person due to the reliance on communicating through technology. Some people have even gone so far as to dub this the loneliest generation. And let's be honest, the pandemic definitely didn't help since they spent important informative time distancing themselves and and doing the opposite of socializing. As Gen Z are spending less time in person, there's been a decline in alcohol consumption, as very often alcohol is seen as a social drink. Since a common reason for drinking is to have a good time with friends, naturally this decreases if the social interaction goes down too. But that's not to say that they aren't going out at all, just a lot less than before. And even though they are the loneliest generation, that doesn't mean that they aren't socializing either. They're just socializing in ways that prioritize health and finance. And booze doesn't fit well into either of those, especially in this day and age. I went out with some friends recently to catch up over dinner and made the mistake of getting a cocktail because why not? We were celebrating reuniting. When the bill came, pet peeve of them not putting the prices on the menu aside, my jaw dang near hit the floor when I saw that the drink was $25. Mind you, my flatbread I ordered, 19. It's ridiculous. And Gen Zers aren't having any of that. And it's not just the price tag like we mentioned in other episodes. Gen Z are far more health conscious, arguably the most health-aware generation in history, because they have all the information they need at their fingertips. The awareness of alcohol.
I mean, actually, now I think about it, I don't think it's just the alcohol, smoking too. Like, remember that old quit smoking campaign? I mean, we always see them. Like, you know, we've seen the effects on other generations that's practically smoked almost every day. I mean, hell, my mom still smokes. I mean, sure, she doesn't do it in the house, but you get the idea. Like, even I haven't touched a pack of cigarettes ever. Like, sure, I've drank, but smoking? I mean, I don't do that. I mean, yeah, it goes to show you, Gen Z, health conscious, man. I mean, we heard about the testimonies. You get it, right? Anyway.
The effects it has on someone has significantly increased since the past generations. Sure, millennials were the first generation to have alcohol and drug educations in school, like the DARE campaign and Just Say No, but it was always vague and didn't harp on the actual health part of it. I remember as a kid it was just, don't do this, it's bad for you, with some scary images, but we never really grasped the effect it had on our bodies. Gen Z, on the other hand, has had instant access to scientific research, nutritional breakdowns, and first-hand testimonials about how alcohol affects the body. So even from one generation to the next, there's a greater understanding of how alcohol can affect your health, and the results aren't pretty. Not just the physical aspect either, the mental one too. Almost 86% of the Gen Z population believe that their mental health is as significant as their physical health when considering drinking alcohol. And while, yeah, alcohol does have a relaxing effect by lowering your inhibitions, that's the reason why inebriated people do dumb things, there's a flip side to that coin, because it also disrupts sleep quality, gut health, and increases the presence of negative feeling like anger, depression, and anxiety. And Gen Z is already depressed and anxious enough as it is. So they're electing to move away from alcohol because they've got enough
we
on
don't
their
want to
plate,
feed that
or
demon
in their
thank you very
cup,
much.
as the case may be. I do want to point out that I know I'm referring to Gen Z as if it's some sort of monolith, and obviously it's not, but trends are incredibly significant in this generation, the generation of social media. And yeah, older generations, well, mostly just the millennials, did have social media from a relatively young age, but we're talking about people who've been sharing their lives with the world for as long as they can practically remember. And the influence of social media is absolutely one of the most important factors in them giving up liquor. Because watching people online share their thoughts on the negative effects of alcohol, their personal stories, or following trends like Dry January encourages others to follow suit. Look at Tom Holland. Not just because he's easy on the eyes, but because he's a good example of this. Someone in the cultural conversation who's become an advocate for sobriety. He started through Dry January, and he's not the only one. Last year, 35% of Gen Zers between 21 and 24 also completed Dry January. And now, the vastly better Tom even makes his own alcohol-free beer. And the other aspect of social media is the ability to have a conversation with the world. There's a large trend called the sober curiosity movement, which challenges people to assess their relationship with alcohol. Not to cut it out, but to ask themselves why they drink, all in the name of mental and physical health. The term sober curious was popularized by the author Ruby Warrington in her 2018 book, and Gen Z is latching onto it because it's become a global conversation. As opposed to what I alluded to earlier when education for the older generation was simply being told not to do something, now it's a dialogue that young people can feel empowered to participate in. And clearly, when they start asking themselves the important questions, alcohol seems like less of a necessity for going out and socializing. But while health and wellness is absolutely the primary concern and driving factor of sobriety for for Gen Z, we
True,
can't
true.
really leave out how expensive it is to drink. Almost a third of young people choose low and no alcohol drinks specifically because they're cheaper than the alcoholic versions. This isn't to say that they're all about saving money and penny pinching. Sure, harsher economic reality right now between student loan debt, skyrocketing rent prices, and an uncertain job market, but the youth are actually happy to shell out cash. They're willing to pay more so long as it's a better quality product. Trends from 2024 show that when Gen Z do drink, they prefer premium beverages. Gone are the days of slamming down whatever's cheapest at the bar. Gen Z would rather have one high-quality, carefully curated drink than 5 that taste like bad decisions. They're trading quantity for quality. So here's the real kicker. This isn't just about drinking less. It's about drinking differently. And the alcohol brands are listening closely. That's because Gen Z isn't killing alcohol. They're reinventing it. Say what you will, but this generation knows what they want. And they have standards, which is more than I can say for the frat bros of my college years downing anything so long as it was unleaded. And even then, I've seen things. When it comes to the things Zoomers are drinking, one of the fastest growing markets is the ready-to-drink beverages, or RTDs. The global RTD market is expected to more than double from 1.01 billion to 2.23 billion by 2029. And it's thanks to Gen Z who live fast-paced lives and need a good drink that doesn't require a bunch of preparation. 54% of Gen Z drink pre-mixed alcohol beverages and spirits, which include things like hard lemonades, hard seltzers, and kombucha. And if you've never had it, by the way, thank your lucky stars. Living in LA so long, it was hard to avoid it. And the one time I did have it, I literally spat it back out on the street. I truly don't get it, but that's just me. Gen Zers, on the other hand, are down to try pretty much anything. That's why these RTDs are also such a smash hit, because they offer a huge variety of flavors and options. They're also drinking the good stuff, the premium stuff, like I mentioned. 54% of Gen Z are likely to choose a premium drink compared to just 35% of people in older generations. This trend is particularly evident in spirits, where premium, super premium, and ultra premium categories have been growing like the stuff at the bottom of kombucha bottles. Seriously, so gross. But companies are now adapting to this, creating beverages with interesting flavors, like pineapple wine cocktails and orange lemonade vodka. But that's not the only way companies are adapting, because the new wave is all about the no-low trend. You know, drinks with no and low alcohol. And the brands are riding that wave to the bank. They're not dumb. They see that their customers are drinking less alcohol. So if people don't want alcohol in their beer, they're not going to stop selling beer. They're just going to stop selling the alcohol in the beer. More and more companies are starting to offer 0% beers, and they're seeing a lot of success with it. The NA, or non-alcoholic beer market, rose by 35% from 2022 to 2023. And it's expected to keep growing at a pretty massive rate. Now, once upon a time, removing the alcohol from the beer had to be done post-fermentation through techniques like boiling, vacuum distillation, and reverse osmosis. Problem was, these methods could negatively affect the taste. So non-alcoholic beers were far from the preference. But now, advancements in technology have also allowed these companies to improve the flavor of these non-alcoholic beverages, meaning not only
actually, again, going back to something else, but you actually could see that in, like, the diet sodas. Like, sure, we had diet, but, I mean, we all know Matt Pettit loves that stuff, but basically, when you compare, like, a regular soda to a diet soda, most people choose regular because diets always tasted funny. But when people try the zero sugar ones, barely difference. Like, I'm pretty sure even I can't tell the difference sometimes. I might have to try that again, See if I can find a zero sugar one and see if it tastes any similar. Well, I'm curious now. Just saying. I don't know. Can you taste the difference between a regular and a zero sugar? Because I'm pretty sure diet sodas would be like, yikes. I mean, you can see the similarities. Start sodas, go somewhere else. Anyway.
only is it not a bad substitute, but can be as good as the original too. And it's not just limited to beers. There are companies that sell de-alcoholized wine. I'm fascinated by this product because it's not like it's just a juice. They've actually removed the alcohol from fully fermented wine and it leaves it tasting just like the alcoholic kind. This is a perfect example of an industry actually listening to its customers and a consumer base that's truly talking with their wallets. And we all come out winning. Higher quality spirits, no or low alcohol variants that taste just as good as their alcoholic counterparts. Even older generations are drinking less or healthier thanks to Gen Z's lead. We owe them a debt of gratitude. But there's one other big winner here.
Oh,
Notice
hold
how
up, we're
at
not
no
done.
point in the episode did I say that the alcohol industry is declining. Sure, there are certain aspects
True.
or specific
Short
brands
term,
that
yeah.
are in trouble, looking at you, Natty Light. And sure, there
Never
are
had
less
it.
people drinking now than ever, but sales in the alcohol industry as a
there it
whole
goes.
haven't stopped climbing since the pandemic. People may be drinking less volume of alcohol, but prices haven't dropped a bit. In fact, some of these no-low drinks are even more expensive than the alcoholic kind. They require the same or similar techniques to the alcoholic types,
And
just with the added
quality over
step of
quantity.
removing the alcohol, which then makes it a premium product to sell. There's a bit of a slump as manufacturers shift their strategies to fit the new market, and some of them may stumble in the short term, which explains why some markets have seen a small decline. But these companies aren't worried about the now. They play the long game. Look at Anheuser-Busch,
That's
the
really the
largest
deal.
beer
You
company
gotta
in the
play long
world.
side,
Right
otherwise,
now, they're
bye-bye.
experiencing a small dip in sales, but their non-alcoholic options are exceeding
Exceeding
expectations.
expectations.
And if
Look at
things
that.
keep going the way they are, their non-alcoholic sales will likely equal or even exceed their others. And they're coming out looking like the heroes
good.
because they're giving us healthier options and listening to their consumer base without actually sacrificing anything. In fact, they're gaining in the long term. So Gen Z
Basically
being
playing the
healthy and
book.
drinking less because of it has created a shift in the industry that's demanding higher quality and healthier options. It's also making the rest of us start to moderate our own drinking habits and consider healthier options. And the alcohol industry is loving it because we
And
are
just-
playing right into their hands. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bottoms up. Or, you know, not. And hey, if you like
Pretty much. Yeah, bottoms up anyway. What do you guys think? Do you ever drink alcohol, or at least you've been finding yourself drinking less and less? That's mostly me. What are you gonna do? I mean, sure. Anywho, like, subscribe for more. Adios.